Hello, and welcome to the 2025 Teacher of the Year Studio Interviews. Throughout the history of the world, great teachers have inspired, persuaded, and motivated students. The St. Lucie Public Schools Teacher of the Year has been around for 45 years and is meant to celebrate and honor inspiring teachers and recognize the importance of teaching. All of us have sat in the classroom of many great teachers. All of us can recall a certain teacher, a very special someone who inspired us to learn. Regardless of their fields of study, they shared wisdom, advocated for students, and their actions transformed lives. Every day, along with 100 million parents, we entrust our children with these teachers. They instruct, guide, coach, and inspire our kids to fulfill their greatest potential. So this program presents some extraordinary men and women whose timeless wisdom echoes the integrity, strength, character, and passion of educators across our district and our great nation. This program is a tribute to and for teachers and celebrates the special and often heroic role they play in the lives of students. Finally, this program is our thank you, our love letter to those who educate, encourage, empower, and inspire the students of the world. Our robust program is designed to bring national attention to the importance of excellence in teaching and celebrate the talents and commitments of these extraordinary teachers. Let's meet them now.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
We are excited at this time to welcome to our Teacher of the Year Highlight Celebration Show the wonderful Miss Christine Slappy, who is a wonderful teacher over at Rivers Edge Elementary. Slappy, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. She's brought along with her Mr. Bickley, who is the dynamic new principal over at Rivers Edge. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
We're excited to have an opportunity to speak with both of you. I know Miss Slappy knows, but just in case you don't, I was Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie Public Schools back in the dark ages, okay? But what this show does is gives us the opportunity to share with our viewers just a small portion of our teaching field, of the educators that are here, and let them know that they represent the brightest and the best near and far of what education is all about. With that being said, I'll ask both of you, Ms. Slappy, you start first, to give us a brief background of your educational career.
Well, my maiden name is Carpenter, and I grew up in St. Lucie County, so I'm a product of this beautiful county. I went to Floresta Elementary, and then for middle school, I went to Lincoln Park. I went to Westwood for high school, where I received a full scholarship to go to IRCC at the time in drama, the Young Floridian Award. And since then, I just have been giving back to my county, volunteering and doing lots of different things like that. And I have been a teacher for St. Lucie County since 2006, so it's my heart.
All these years, I didn't know that you graduated from Westwood.
Yes, sir.
I taught at Westwood.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. William Bickley.
Yes.
Introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, Bill Bickley, brand new, as you had mentioned, brand new principal at Rivers Edge Elementary, and first year in the county as well. Originally from New Jersey, and I started in elementary education up there. After a few years, I'm a transplant to Florida, so I moved down in 2010 to a neighboring county, and that's where I started actually in secondary, teaching middle school English language arts. And I continued on for the next 14 years at the middle school level. Eventually moved up to an instructional coaching position and assistant principal for several years before taking this new position.
Well, just like you're excited to have Ms. Slappy on your campus, we're excited that you're in St. Lucie Public Schools,
Thank you. I'm
too.
excited to be here. It's been
awesome.
wonderful.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Slappy.
Yes.
When did you first fall in love with teaching?
Actually, that was a interesting story because education was not my first choice for a career. I'm a career change. Being that I got the Young Floridian in drama, I had big dreams of going to New York and being on the scene in Broadway. I have since never been to New York, and my stage is the classroom. So I had one of those moments where I followed intuition And I was in church, and I was doing church sermons, the children's sermons for the church, bringing scripture and object lessons to life. And it was very kind of embarrassing almost, the response I was getting from the congregation, like, you need to be a teacher, you have a gift. And so with a lot of soul searching and following of that intuition and nudging in the right direction, I landed myself in the classroom.
Well, I can assure you that the neon lights are bright on Broadway,
Well,
okay?
thank you.
Yes.
I'm sure they are.
What did you make of this honor of being selected by your colleagues as their Teacher of the Year?
I was really humbled by it. I mean, I've been in education since 2006, and I've worked in the trenches at Garden City, and now I'm here at River's Edge, and it just feels really good to be recognized for all the different things that I'm doing, but just such a humbling honor, and I just want to represent St. Lucie County the best way I can.
So when you think back, because you were a career changer, you wanted to be a star.
Yes.
A star, but your star is still shining bright.
Well, thank you.
Do you think that there might have been an educator in your past that kind of influences how you maneuver every day? Share with us.
Actually, it was my 5th grade teacher. I think it's really fun and cyclical symmetry how I'm a 5th grade teacher this year, and it was my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Ferguson, who just made school fun. Everything that we learned, you just felt seen and you felt loved, and the projects that we did, she brought words to life, and it just really impacted me. She also had a husband who was a teacher, and I always thought to myself, wow, look at that dynamic duo. I want that when I grow up. And then here I am. I have that exact same thing. So
Awesome.
it's just so beautiful to me how it all worked out.
So, Mr. Bickley, you have an opportunity to visit Mrs. Slappy's class every day
Absolutely.
and watch that star shine bright with those students on her stage in her 5th grade classroom. Give us a sneak peek into her room.
Okay. I mean, I can talk about what really stands out if you look at the lens of what you see when you first walk in, what you hear, and how you feel. Just being in your classroom. What I see when I walk in that classroom are students who are engaged, and they're engaged at the complexity of the grade level standards, and they really are digging in. They have productive struggle. They're always supported, but I think that's why they get so engaged, because they know they have that support there. I always hear really great conversations between the students, and that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of the structure that you've built in your classroom. You know, it's a place where there are relationships between the students and yourself, and then peer-to-peer as well. That kind of sets the stage for those really great conversations and that learning, that team learning. And then again, you put all the pieces in place and scaffolding to allow all students to approach that material. And that really stands out as something you hear as you're walking around. You're hearing the types of academic language that you would expect in a 5th grade classroom of students who are really excelling, and they really are. And the way it feels, it just, you're a dynamic presence in the classroom, but you're a calming presence as well. And that's the only way I can explain it. It's a very calm feeling, and you can tell the students feel supported, and that relationship is firmly established, because we have to start with the relationship. And I think Mrs. Slappy is a great example of that.
I understand what you mean when you say that about Ms. Slappy. Describe her for me using 3 adjectives, and then tell me why you've chosen those 3.
Okay, so I would say the first I would use is authentic. She's an authentic person. She believes in students and that they can achieve. And it's just such a real belief, because it's followed with action, beliefs and then action. The action is all the time she spends looking at their data with them and the progress, and setting goals with them, and planning lessons to make sure that they are making the progress that they need. To me, that's just like the authenticity of a teacher who has a heart for students. And for me, she's an encourager. Just like I said, when you're in there, students are taking risks. They're getting out of their comfort zones. They're offering responses. There's never a dull moment in there. And she's just such a great encourager of students and student growth, which I think is really important. And I'd also say that Mrs. Slappy she's an inspirer. She's inspirational.
So, Ms. Slappy, I let Mr. Bickley kind of describe you, but I'm going to turn the tide, and I'm going to ask you, what makes you a great teacher?
The relationships that I build with students. It's the #1 thing that I set out to do every year, because I know that there isn't any content that I can really teach to a kid until that kid feels like they know me and feels safe and seen in a classroom. that takes time. So I'm setting high expectations from day one, but I'm trying to figure out who you are, and I'm showing up for who you are, where you are, and I just feel like that's what it takes to be an effective teacher. I'm not going to be able to teach you anything about reading or writing or structure if you don't trust me. And so I have to build a relationship, and it's what I do really, really well.
So tell me, what do you see today as one of the greatest challenges facing education?
Apathy, and I think technology a little bit too. Again, when you have a kid in the classroom who doesn't care about education, or maybe they just haven't had that firm establishment, it's really hard to get someone to care about something. And so that's where that relationship building is so crucial. I also think technology can be a very powerful tool. It can be a very negative tool. Too much power and technology in the wrong hands, or just hands that haven't had the responsibility to hold it all yet, can be a little bit detrimental. So I think healthy boundaries, you can have all of that with boundaries and different things, but I think the biggest problem is that we just need to remember that they're children and they're individuals, and if you want to get them to learn, you have to build a relationship.
If you had an opportunity to give a wish for education, I'm granting you one wish for education, what would your wish be?
That every single child feels seen, that they have a caring adult in their life, in the classroom setting. Somewhere along in their education, every single year, they have that person.
So, Mr. Bickley, I asked you to describe Mrs. Slappy by using 3 adjectives, but now I want you to give her a hashtag. What would your hashtag be for your dynamic teacher of the year?
I could say it 2 different ways. I would say a hashtag light bearer, because you can see that she absolutely exudes this light and this power of her belief in students, and you can tell by the way she talks about establishing that relationship. I'd also say, because I'm gonna cheat it a little bit and say too, hashtag thermostat as well, because she sets that tone in her classroom, and then it also sets the tone for her team, the 5th grade team, because she's such a great leader on that team, sets the tone as well for our school, and then for our district. That's the reason she's here right now.
Speed round. I'm going to throw some ideas out at you, and you respond.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Fresh bread, right out of the oven.
That's different. That's different. Favorite restaurant?
I don't have a favorite restaurant. It would be a campsite in the middle of the woods, camp food.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Little Women.
Favorite sports team?
Miami Dolphins.
Favorite song?
Yellow by Coldplay.
I gotta go listen. I gotta
Okay.
go listen. Favorite quote or motivational saying?
Above all, love each other deeply. 1 Peter 4:8.
Gotcha. Okay. So here we go, Mr. Bickley. When you visit, when you see her about the campus, you can just see what happens. What do you think in totality makes her the perfect nominee for this honor?
I would say it's what she brings to the campus and the support that she brings to our families and our students every day. It's that light that she exudes that really does change the heart of a student when they feel supported. It's that same light that she extends to families and then also to her teammates. You know, we have several new teammates this year and a couple on her team, and she is such a powerful leader because she leads by example and comes up alongside them and partners with them, gives them great support. She's everything that you would look for in a teacher in the most authentic sense that there could be. You are a teacher and you're an excellent teacher.
Thank you.
And I really believe you should be the teacher of the year for this county because like I said, it starts in the classroom, it builds to your team, to our school, and to this county. And she's doing a great job.
So, Mrs. Slappy,
Thank you.
your selection as a teacher of the year for Rivers Edge
Yes.
automatically makes you their ambassador for education. It could lead to you being the ambassador for education for St. Lucie Public and for the state of Florida.
Yes.
In those roles, you may have an opportunity to speak to several community people, lawmakers, board members. What's your message?
Gosh, what's my message? Just to, I don't know. I'm a steward of the earth. I feel like a servant of this community. I've been giving back in so many ways. I'm not just a teacher, I'm also a volunteer. I think conservation is really important, education. I just feel like you need to leave a legacy of love. And that's what I've been building my whole life on, is I'm trying to empower children to love themselves, to show up and believe in themselves. But I want that for our community too. I want us to have this deep nurturing and just this commitment to St. Lucie County, to the state of Florida, to love it and leave it better than you found it. And I feel like that's what I'm kind of an ambassador of.
So we ask you to bring along a prop that kind of defines you as an educator, something that's meaningful to you. Share with us.
My prop is a shamrock, because my younger brother's 40, and when he went to Lincoln Park in 7th grade, he developed a holiday that happens every week called Lucky Thursday. Lucky Thursday is something I've been celebrating more than half my life now, and it's just, you're looking for the positive things on Thursdays, so something good always happens because you're scavenging for it. Every single Slappy Happy member of my classrooms over the years has discovered Lucky Thursday, and they look forward to it. So much so that, like, even right before break, we had to take the FAST PM2, and it was the math side, so they're with their math teacher, not me, and I was like, but guys, it's on Lucky Thursday. And the whole class went crazy because they knew it was going to be a great day. They were going to do great on their tests because they were going to have an awesome day simply because it was Lucky Thursday. So it's that power of positive thinking, and it's a very small thing, but if you walk into my room on a Thursday, the kids are going to be happier and they're going to be looking for all of those things, and it's just one spirals into another, and it's kind of just my classroom.
So, Mr. Bickley, I'll let you give us the final words today. Anything else that you may want to share with us about my friend, the wonderful Miss Christine Slappy?
Well, we appreciate her. We wish that we had a full staff of Christine Slappies because of everything that she brings. She really is a great support, and has a true, authentic love for students, families, community, and she's just, as you said, great ambassador.
Thank you.
For St. Lucie County and for the state of Florida.
Again, Mr. Bickley, I'm going to welcome you home. Welcome you home. It's so great to have you in our district, working with us, our staff members and our students. Mrs. Slappy, congratulations on your honor for selection as Teacher of the Year, and it's been a pleasure speaking with both of you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
We are St. Lucie Public Schools. We are accoladed, recognized, accredited, merited. We are innovators, builders, career-driven, future-forward leaders. We are community-focused, partners, mentors, contributors. We are historic, unique, extraordinary, admired. We are champions, energetic, competitive, game changers. We are artists, dancers, designers, musicians. We are diverse, inclusive, collaborative, empowering. We are caregivers, protectors, supportive, attentive. Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello and welcome again as we celebrate our Teachers of the Year here in St. Lucie Public Schools. And we're excited at this time to welcome from Dan McCarty Middle School, Miss Linda Campbell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. And I'll start off by saying congratulations to you on this selection. It is quite an honor. She's brought along with her the dynamic principal over there at Dan McCarty, Miss Latricia Stubb James. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
It is a pleasure to speak with both of you today regarding your selection as a Teacher of the Year for Dan McCarty. I think it is so very important that we seize every opportunity to introduce some of the dynamic educators that we have here in St. Lucie County to many of our viewers. With that being said, would you give us a little bit about your background, Ms. Campbell?
Sure. Yes, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, but I was raised here in St. Lucie County.
Okay.
I graduated from Fort Pierce Westwood High.
Okay.
Go Panther!
Once a Panther, always a Panther, yes.
Yes, then I went to Inner River State College. I received my first AS degree in Office System Technology. Then I received another AS degree in Library Science, and then I received my AA degree. And then I went to Warner University and received my bachelor's in organization management.
Okay. welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ms. Stubb James, just in case somebody doesn't know you, share with us your background as well.
So I graduated from Blakely County High School, which is located in Cochran, Georgia, very rural town in Georgia. And from there, I went to Savannah State University and got a major in political science and a minor in English. From there, I became a teacher in my hometown and relocated to Fort Pierce, Florida in 2012. From there, I became a teacher, where I was Teacher of the Year for Dan McCarty Middle School, as well as a District Teacher of the Year finalist. And then I moved on to being an instructional coach at Dan McCarty Middle School, and later transitioned to going to the elite program, the very first elite cohort, graduating in 2018 with my master's in educational leadership. And today, I am the proud principal of Dan McCarty Middle School.
Did you hear Ms. Campbell how she said the proud? Okay, so we're going to
Very
be proud too. Okay.
Very proud.
So we are proud that you are the Teacher of the Year for Dan McCarty. Share with us what you make of this honor by your colleagues.
Well, I make of this honor by my colleague that I put 100% in. I'm there every day. I work so hard with my students and my faculty, my colleagues. I go beyond. I try real hard to make my students succeed in their education. I also was a mentor at Dan McCarty Middle School, and I used to mentor first-year teachers. I also was a coach there at Dan McCarty Middle School as well. So
tell me this. What do you think makes you a great teacher?
What makes me a great teacher is that when my students take the PM test, PM3 test, they succeed. I have over 50% proficiency, and I have a lot of learning gain there. So that would make me to be the proud teacher there at Dan McCarty Middle School.
When you think about the time that you have spent in education, reflecting back, do you think that there was a teacher along the way that maybe influenced or inspired you, or even the way that you respond with your students?
Yes, one teacher in mind that inspired me was my third grade teacher. She was very encouraging me all the time. She let me be the student helper. I love grading paper. I used to tutor the student because I was so smart in math. So she always had me tutoring the students who couldn't catch on to multiplication facts. So I used to love that. So she encouraged me a lot. And also my third grade teacher, she used to live in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So she was just almost like a mother to me. So she just took me in like I was her child. So she was a very inspiration for me. Miss Wilson, she was my third grade teacher at Garden City Elementary School.
So when did you first fall in love with teaching?
When I first fall in love with teaching is when I'm teaching a difficult concept and my student, I can see the student the light bulb goes off, and my students are so surprised that they can actually do word problem and able to solve the problem. And they know they got the answer right because I'm always celebrating. Now, they see me doing this little dance and I'm cheering and doing a sprinkle. They already know that they got the answer right. And that just puts so much joy into me when I see my student light bulbs go off because they think that they cannot do it. And I keep telling them, yes, you can do it. That's all you have to do is try and keep on and give it your best.
So, Ms. Stubb James, you have the opportunity to watch Ms. Campbell work every day. Take us into her classroom.
So the first thing that I want to bring up about Ms. Campbell, and she doesn't speak about this, about herself enough, but when I transitioned to Dan McCarty Middle School, we were in state turnaround. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to basically get our students to proficiency and get them there as quickly as possible. And so we challenged Ms. Campbell. We gave her specific students because we hand scheduled all of our students. We gave her specific students that had not yet reached proficiency, but were close to proficiency. And we gave her those students, and we had a conversation, and I told her, I said, Ms. Campbell, this is going to be a challenge because these babies are close, but they're not proficient. And we're depending on you to really help us push these kids into proficiency. And Ms. Campbell looked at me and she said, okay. And she took on that challenge. And that was a challenge that not many teachers without having the expertise that she had would be able to do. And so our first year at Dan McCarty together, she helped to catapult our proficiency in math, Ms. Campbell alone. And then from there, we saw how well she had done with students. And so this year, I called her again and I said, Ms. Campbell, I'm gonna give you another challenge. And so she said, well, what is this challenge? And I said, I need you to teach our 7th grade accelerated students. Those babies that if they pass this test will be taking algebra next year. I said, and we need to have 100% pass rate. And she looked at me and she said, you got 100% pass rate. And so from that point forward, she has been working every single day. She's always in our CLPs. She's always assessing her students. She knows exactly where every single one of her students is. You can ask her, where is this student? Where do they need to go? How many points do they need to get? She knows. Her students know, and they give 100% effort every single time. And so because of Ms. Campbell, we are anticipating some very prosperous numbers as far as growth is concerned. And it is because of her that our kids are pushing and reaching and getting into those algebra classes in 8th grade, which really will help not only Dan McCarty, but also our feeder high schools as well.
So define Ms. Campbell for me using 3 adjectives.
I would say tough. I would say an expert in her field, and I would also say compassionate. Ms. Campbell understands and knows when to be tough, but also when to be compassionate. And that's what makes her such a stellar teacher, because you have to know when to push and when to pull, and she knows how to do those things. And she and I have also developed a relationship where we know where to push and where to pull. And when you know that about not only your teacher that you work so closely with, but when you know that about when you know the teacher knows that about her students, you are very positive in what your results will be. So that's what I would say about Ms. Campbell.
So Ms. Campbell, if you could change one thing in education that would have a meaningful impact, a meaningful difference, what would that thing be?
If I can change one thing, there would be it's time. More time. The kids need more time to process, more time to learn, because right now how things are going, we have to stay on a calendar, because some kids struggle, but most kids need more time to process and to learn. So I would say time gives the kid more time.
So let's have some fun. Let's play a speed round. I'm going to throw some ideas out at you, and then you respond back. Favorite food?
Crabs.
I got a lot of seafood lovers this year. Favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant, oh my God, I got so many. Well, Conky Joe's.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh, Die Hard.
It's good. No arguments here. Favorite sports team?
Oh my God, LA Lakers, of course.
Okay. Favorite song?
Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father Again.
Oh, great song. What about a favorite quote or motivational saying?
Always try your best and never give up.
So, as the Teacher of the Year, you have automatically become the ambassador for education at Dan McCarty. Mm-hmm. Having an opportunity to maybe speak to parents or to other educators, what's your message?
My message is to say, let's have the student to try, embrace challenges, and celebrate their success.
So we ask you to bring a prop with you. Share with us what this prop is and why it's meaningful to you.
This prompt is a bowl of eggs, so this egg represent, you know, we Democrats is our what you call
Mascot?
it? Mascot, yes, it's eagles.
Okay.
So our
Eagle
eagles,
eggs.
eagle eggs. So
Okay.
this is what this is. It's eagle eggs.
So y'all take them from the egg and mold them
Exactly.
until they can fly on their own.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Understand,
Absolutely.
understand,
Absolutely.
understand. So, Mr. James, I'm going to give you the last words. What makes Ms. Campbell the perfect candidate for this honor?
I think what makes Ms. Campbell the perfect candidate is that Ms. Campbell is invested in our community. As long as I have been a teacher, a coach, or even known about Dan McCarty, Ms. Campbell has been there. She is a steadfast teacher that we can always depend on. And we know that because of Ms. Campbell's credentials, that she could go anywhere else. But she chooses to work at Dan McCarty, and that's a choice. And that's one of the things that I really want to emphasize specifically about working in the green zone, is that we understand that everybody has choices. And Ms. Campbell has chosen year after year after year to remain at Dan McCarty, to be steadfast at Dan McCarty, because she believes in our community and making a difference for our students. And so when you go, she walks down the hallway and when she sees our 8th grade students, they're, Miss Campbell, Miss Campbell, Miss Campbell, I did this on my test, I did this on my test. And they're always trying to show her how what she taught them, how that transitioned to them in 8th grade and has really made them the students that they are. So with that, that is what I believe makes Ms. Campbell a standout teacher, is her commitment and dedication to her students, the community, and Dan McCarty Middle School.
I'm going to thank you, Ms. Campbell, and you, Mr. James, for being with us. And to this tough, expert, compassionate educator, congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year at Dan McCarty. And we're looking for some great things. And thank you again for the work that you put in to make those eagles soar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
We're excited to have Ms. Heather Peterson at our show today. She's the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Oak Hammock K-8 School. Ms. Peterson, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
She's brought along with her the awesome principal there, Ms. Jacqueline Lee. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak with both of you. We always are excited this time of the year because many viewers don't volunteer or come into our schools, but this gives them a peek into our schools and an opportunity to meet some of the dynamic educators that represent the brightest and the best that can be found anywhere. With that being said, Ms. Peterson, give us a little bit background, history.
Okay. I have been teaching first grade for 4 years now. This is my 4th year. I have 4 of my own children, married for 17 years. I'm a veteran. I met my husband in England, of all places. But, yeah, and I'm happy.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lee, would you introduce yourself?
Certainly. I have had the pleasure of working in St. Lucie Public Schools for about 20 years, most recently serving as principal at Oak Hammock K-8. Prior to my administrative experience, I taught middle school reading at various schools throughout the district. I received my bachelor's degree from the University of Pittsburgh and my master's degree from FAU in educational leadership.
So, Ms. Peterson, what do you make of this honor of being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Oak Hammock K-8?
I honestly was shocked when they came and gave me my award. I thought they were going to walk over to the kindergarten pod. We were coming in from recess, and I didn't think it was for me, so I'm honored.
Yeah. It can be overwhelming, can be, because we just go about doing what we naturally do, right? Yeah.
Right.
I totally understand. Do you think, well, first of all, have you always wanted to be a teacher?
When I was younger, we had to take this test. I want to say it was in 5th grade, and it was like, I can't even remember the name of it, but it's like what career best suits your personality and everything. And I have always thought that I wanted to either be a teacher or a nurse. So I knew I was going to do one of the two. Yeah.
Do you think that there was a teacher in your background that might have influenced your decision or how you go about your craft?
Not one in particular. Honestly, I've had a really good teachers all throughout my education, so there's really not one in particular.
When did you first fall in love with teaching?
I actually started out substituting, and I substituted all from VPK through 8th grade, and when I started that, I felt a calling. I fell in love with teaching, so I decided to get my certificate and teach full time.
So what do you think it is that inspires you on a daily basis to do the work that you do?
My students. Definitely, and seeing their progress throughout the year. To me, that's exciting.
So, Ms. Lee, you have an opportunity to watch Ms. Peterson work every day.
Mm-hmm.
Take us into her classroom.
So her classroom environment is both loving and caring and safe, and she pairs that with very high expectations. So not only do the students come out of her classroom with a love of learning, but they are also exposed to their grade level standards and are very well prepared for the next grade level.
Describe her for me, please, by using 3 adjectives.
Yes. She is very creative, not only in her lesson delivery, but also in her classroom environment. She's resourceful, so even when presented with a challenge, she knows who to talk to and what resources to seek out to help her overcome the biggest challenges. And she's passionate. She's passionate about education and doing what's right for kids.
So I've asked Ms. Lee to describe you, but I'm going to turn the tides and ask you, what do you say it is that makes you a great teacher?
Well, I feel like the first thing, you need to be passionate about what you're doing, especially in education, because we're responsible for these students' educational careers. So I feel like that's the first step, is you have to be passionate and dedicated to your job, and I definitely am. And I also feel like you need structure and routine, because these students really count on that. So I feel like I got a lot of that from the military, a lot of discipline and structure.
What do you consider to be one of the greatest challenges facing education today?
Challenge. I feel like, especially in first grade, we teach all the subject areas. So I just feel like sometimes maybe the lessons go a little too quickly and we don't have time to go back and like really work on those areas where some of my students may have struggled. So I know I do that during small group, but I feel like if we definitely had time to slow the curriculum down a little bit, that I feel like is a great challenge.
So we talked about challenge, so I'm going to flip that. Mm-hmm. Tell me what it is that you're most hopeful about.
I would say that I am most hopeful that all of my students gain the the knowledge needed to go to the next grade level, and that they keep going, and that there's not a huge learning gap that I might be creating in my own students. So that's one of my big hopes.
So, Ms. Lee, for you, you watch her every day. She shares every day. What do you think it is that makes her the perfect candidate for this honor?
She's a natural. When she described at first subbing, I had the opportunity to see her in action as a substitute teacher. And so it was just a natural career for her, career pathway after serving in the military. Mm-hmm. But not only is she a natural, she is a lifelong learner and is really interested in developing her career, and really, does not give up on even, despite any of the challenges that she may face.
Ms. Peterson,
yes.
If you could change one thing in education, what might that be?
I would probably change that students are able to receive not just only free breakfast, but free lunches as well. I feel like that's a big issue right now in schools, not even just in Florida, but nationwide. There's kids that are not eating necessarily at home, so then they come to school and they still might not be eating what they could be eating. So if I could change that, I definitely would.
So let's have some fun. I want to play a speed round with you. I'm going to throw some ideas out and you respond back. The first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Steak and potatoes.
Favorite restaurant?
Longhorn.
Longhorn.
Steak and
really?
potatoes.
Steak and potatoes. They kind of go together, don't they? Okay. Favorite movie?
Matilda.
Favorite sports team?
UNC Tar Heels.
Favorite song?
Can't give up now, Mary, Mary.
I just can't give. Okay.
I love that.
I know that one. Favorite quote or motivational saying?
I would probably say no regrets, because everything that you do, you should have no regret in doing. Even if something bad happened, you learn from that. So I say no regrets.
As the Teacher of the Year for Oak-Hammock, you are automatically the ambassador for education. You got to talk to your PTA. You got to talk to teachers. You got to shine the light on education in your school. What's your message?
I'd say just to be involved, really, because when the families are involved, that helps the student. When the community is involved, it helps the students. So anything that's going to help the students get to where they need to be.
So I ask you to bring along a prop with you today to share how and why it's meaningful to you as an educator. Let's take time to do that now.
Okay. I brought two. So my first one is a book we had made. We were fostering before we moved to Florida, and so this was our book that we would show potential children that we were looking to adopt. We were going to adopt before we moved here. So I brought this one because it's my family, and everything that I do is inspired by them. And then I also brought, this is my reason why. So inside, whenever I'm feeling, I don't know, maybe like it was a stressful day or a stressful week, I like to just come in here and look at some of my students' artwork, and it just makes me happy to see, the things that they love me, and it makes me feel better. So it's my reason why I keep going.
Gotcha. So, Mrs. Lee, we'll let you have the last say-so. What is it that makes Ms. Peterson the perfect candidate for this honor, and anything else that you may want to share?
So she is a hard worker. She's very determined, and as I had already described, really she really brings out the love of learning in her students and really prepares them for a lifelong learning experience.
It has been a pleasure sharing this time with both of you. Ms. Lee, Ms. Peterson, congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year. We're looking for some great things, and I'm so glad that you share with us your reason why, which helps us understand our reason whys as well.
Right.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello and welcome again as we greet to our Teacher of the Year celebration show, the wonderful Miss Casey Sanchez.
Hello,
welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
I am blessed to be here.
Along with Mrs. Sanchez is the awesome principal over at Savannah Ridge Elementary, Mr. Roberto Bonsignor. Welcome, Mr. B.
Thank you, welcome.
How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Awesome,
Amazing.
awesome. We're always excited to do this show. It gives us a chance to celebrate teaching, celebrate education, celebrate educators, and some of the brightest and best in the field near and far. With that said, would you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Absolutely. So my name is Casey Sanchez. This is my 4th year teaching. I moved from New York in 2016. I moved to Port St. Lucie, so I graduated here in Florida. I graduated from Fort Pierce Central.
Okay.
Then I went.
Cobra proud. Okay.
I know. Then I went straight to IRSC. I did my associates in education. Then when I went into pursuing my bachelor's degree, I actually did my bachelor's in organizational management. There's a why to that. And then I wanted to teach. I started subbing. I loved what I did, and I went ahead and I went to take these teaching tests, and that's
the rest is history. Her story. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Mr. Bonsignor, introduce yourself for us, please.
Well, I'm a proud principal of Savannah Ridge Elementary School in St. Lucie County. Has been my home since 2008. I came from New York as well. I was raised in New York, graduate of University of Miami. My passion is education and children.
Yes.
Because of my experience as a student myself. So I'm just a proud principal to be there and proud to be her principal as well.
So, Ms. Sanchez, tell me, what did you think of this honor when you were first recognized as a Teacher of the Year?
Let me tell you, it took me by a breeze. I was so happy. I was in the middle of doing a lesson with my kids. We were ready, we were getting ready to pick up for the day, and I hear the door. I didn't turn around. You know, I was busy with the kids. And then I see them coming up with the flowers. I was already having an amazing week. It was my wedding week. So this closed it up. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't, like, I was in shock. I was in shock, but it was such an amazing feeling just because they see the work that I do. Everybody, you know, recognizes the hard work that I put in for my kids. So I felt so good. And till this day, I feel amazing.
So you told me that there was a reason to your wife or organization
Yes.
because you're an educator.
Yes.
So what influenced you, and tell me what that why is, if you don't mind
Okay.
sharing, and how you've been influenced to be an educator.
Okay, so when I started, when I did my bachelor's in organizational management, I wanted to leave the opportunities open. I thought to myself, I said, what if this is not the career for me? What if I don't like this path? I'm going to leave a door open just in case. Then I was working at a fast food restaurant back then. It was my last days working there. I started working at the college actually in financial aid. So when I started working there, I started, you know, experiencing, having conversations with teachers and things like that. I went to sub. So when I first started subbing, I loved it. When I would walk into a classroom, I felt like that classroom was mine, even if it wasn't. So that's where everything started. The love, you know, the kids didn't even know me like that. They were writing me notes, oh, I love you here, or thank you for this. And it's heartwarming. So that's where everything began.
So we just talked about love, but I want to know, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I actually fell in love with teaching when I would play teacher. I would go back to my parents' motherland, which is Honduras. I would play teacher with the kids there. I would say, oh, okay, I'm gonna teach you English. I would teach them the letters, and they would like listen to me, and they would, you know, grasp on that. That's where everything began. I was like, I love teaching. I love it. Like, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. It's just I wanted, you know, that opportunity, the windows, the doors open.
So what's your most enjoyable part of teaching?
The most enjoyable part of teaching now is, I would say, the love, the engagement, everything that I see in the classroom when the kids are with me. Like, I think that what the kids have to give back, that's what I enjoy the most about my job. I always say, I love my job. I love what I do. And that's where everything comes from. It comes from the kids, the love that they give, you know, the hard work that they put in. They don't only do it for themselves, but they do it to make their teacher proud.
Mr. Bonsignor, you have the opportunity to watch Ms. Sanchez work every day. Take us into her classroom and share with us what we might see, hear, or feel.
Well, it is a very welcoming, cheerful environment, yet very rigorous. There is no opportunity to play. There's no downtime. She makes sure she keeps them engaged in a creative way. She's very creative. She really holds them accountable for what they need to do. So talk about accountable talk and accountable activities. She is a person, so everything is well thought out and planned, and it's done in a creative way in an environment that is not, it does not feel like they're working. So it's like, you might think it's chaos, but it's organized chaos, because when you there more than a minute, then you realize, oh, this is what they're doing, and they are engaged, fully engaged in their learning.
Describe her for me using 3 adjectives and share with us why you've chosen those 3.
No nonsense, because she does not take no for an answer. She doesn't let them off the hook. She is motherly, because she right now doesn't have her kids of her own, but those are her kids.
Yes.
And
They are.
it feels that way. She dedicated 100% while she's in the classroom and when she's not as well.
So I've had Mr. Bonsignor describe you. Tell me what it is that inspires you.
I would say what inspires me is the need that I see, the eagerness to learn, what the kids give off based on when they walk into my classroom. That's what inspires me to be a better educator for them. There was a certain time where I wasn't able to pass these subject area tests. And when I would walk into my classroom and I would see them, I would say, I need to do this, not for myself, but for the kids. Because they're counting on me to lead them, to guide them. Because that's what it is. You need to prepare them to become tomorrow's future leaders.
Let's play a speed round. I'm going to throw some ideas out at you, and you give me an answer back. Ready?
Okay, awesome.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite restaurant?
Texas Roadhouse.
They kind of go together, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Favorite movie?
Do I have a favorite movie? The Grinch. The Grinch, because we just watched it for Christmas.
Okay. Favorite sports team?
I would say Barcelona.
Okay. Football?
Huh?
Barcelona?
Oh,
Soccer
team. Yeah,
Football.
soccer team,
Football.
sorry.
Yeah. Favorite song?
Birds of a feather.
And favorite quote or motivational saying?
My favorite quote, I have two.
Okay.
The first one is, it takes a big heart to shape small minds. And my second one is, God, goals, growing and glowing.
Yes. Question for you.
Yes.
Knowing your quotes and what that means to you, seasoned teacher, how do you take that and share that love with a new teacher, and what would you say to inspire them?
So, of course, being a new teacher is difficult. So in order to inspire them or inspire a teacher, a new teacher, I would always give them positive examples. Do it for the kids. Do it for the love that they give. Do it for tomorrow, because tomorrow you don't know what's to come, but the positive that the kids give you, that will intake your decisions on what to do next. It's difficult for some teachers, especially when, they're new, but don't give up.
Share with us, please, the prop that you brought along.
This is my prop, and the significance of this prop is major, because this was when Mr. Bonsignor first took me in to Savannah Ridge. I had my own classroom, knowing he knew what it was for me to pass these tests. And the reason why I say that a lot is because it took me a while to get where I am. But he was part of the inspiration that I had to continue going. He pushed me, and when I first got into the classroom, I took those kids on, and we were a team. I saw, their eagerness to learn. And fun fact, this was in second grade. I went on to third grade with the same group. And these are the kids that motivated me to become a better educator.
So, Mr. Bonsignor, what makes Mrs. Sanchez the perfect nominee for this honor?
One of my beliefs is that I would hire someone in New York second if they have the will and not the skill. And Ms. Sanchez had the will and not all the skills that a teacher had. When she came to us, she was alone to herself. But I saw the will for her to get to where she is now. And she has gained that skill to where she feels comfortable. So that's one of the reasons why I pushed her, because I knew she had it in her. And for her to not give up and really give her that confidence. Sometimes people see in you things you don't see in yourself.
I agree.
And I am a product of that as well, because people saw in me things that I never thought. And then that pushes you. And I think she now realizes why I pushed her. And I'm glad I caught her.
So, Ms. Sanchez, 10 years from now, what do you want your previous students to be saying about the time that they spent with you?
That was my teacher. She was the one that pushed me. She was the one there for me. She was the one that cared for me. That was the teacher that made me who I am now.
So you're the ambassador for education for Savannah Ridge simply by your selection as Teacher of the Year. In that role, you may have an opportunity to speak to many different people, lawmakers, decision makers. What's your message?
My message is never give up. It might be a long run, It might be difficult. There might be obstacles you might face. Never give up on your dream, because at the end of the day, it's not only for you, it's who those you impact. Your dreams will become true when you involve yourself in those decisions that you need to make in order to become who you want to be.
Ms. Sanchez, Mr. Bonsignor, thank you for joining us. Thank you for having that impact on students that you spoke about, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
Yes.
We are St. Lucie Public Schools. We are accoladed, recognized, accredited, merited. We are innovators, builders, career-driven, future-forward leaders. We are community-focused, partners, mentors, contributors. We are historic, unique, extraordinary, admired. We are champions, energetic, competitive, game changers. We are artists, dancers, designers, musicians. We are diverse, inclusive, collaborative, empowering. We are caregivers, protectors, supportive, attentive. Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello and welcome to our Teacher of the Year celebration show. We are so excited at this time to have with us the wonderful Mr. Andrew Cole, who is the dynamic Teacher of the Year at Mosaic Digital Academy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
He's brought along with him our fantastic friend, the proud principal at Mosaic, Ms. Jean Zimba. Ms. Zimba, welcome back.
Thank you.
We are always excited when we have an opportunity to do this show. I don't know if you know, Mr. Cole, but I was Teacher of the Year for the St. Lucie Public Schools back in the dark ages. But when we do this show, it gives us an opportunity to share with our viewers, our community, some of the dynamic teachers that we have, some of the brightest and the best near and far, and let them know that you are just a representation of all of those other wonderful people that we have working with and training and educating students every day. So, Mr. Cole, if you don't mind, would you just give us a brief background about your schooling and up to this point?
Well, I am a local. I was born and raised in Martin County, and with the exception of a little bit of exploring into Maine and some other northern states, I have lived most of my life in Florida. I started my college career at Indian River Community College, and then I transferred on to Florida State University, which is where I first was given the privileged opportunity to become an educator when I was asked to teach in my graduate program in German Studies department. I decided therein that teaching is what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I returned to my hometown, and I found my first teaching opportunity at Treasure Coast High School. I worked at Treasure Coast High School and just had a wonderful time meeting many of the St. Lucie Public Schools' best and brightest teachers, and they helped me learn the ins and outs of high school education, which is a little bit different than college education. Mm-hmm. And in 2020, I was given the opportunity to teach at Mosaic Digital Academy, and I've been there for this is my 4th year, and it is by far the most amazing teaching opportunity that I could have possibly imagined. I really think that our school is the vanguard of new developments of education, and I am just thrilled to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of the amazing and talented team that provides educational services for all of our students.
Cool. That's your salesman right there, Miss. He's the vanguard. I love it. Ms. Zimba, introduce yourself for us, please.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. I'm Jean Zimba. I came here from Miami, Florida in 1992. I've been with St. Lucie County Public Schools since 1993. Was an educator, elementary teacher, and then I went on to become a library media specialist, K through 12. and then entered into this virtual world. Became the principal for Mosaic Digital Academy in 2012, where we started to educate students on the virtual platform and having an opportunity to have students come in from time to time so that we can get to know them and to really personalize learning. So I'm super happy to be here today and to showcase Mr. Andrew Cole.
Thank you, thank you. So, Mr. Cole, tell me, what do you find most enjoyable about teaching?
Well, the everyday experience. As a teacher, I feel a tremendous responsibility for the presence that we have in the lives of our students. And the most enjoyable part of teaching is being available for the students every day and letting them know that they are always welcome to chew my ear or to share the latest question or show off their projects and their work, or just to have a comforting presence of company.
So, Ms. Zimba, you have the opportunity to engage with Mr. Cole and his students every day. Give us a peek into his virtual classroom with his students. What might you, if you took us in, what would we see, hear, and or feel?
Well, Mr. Cole teaches English predominantly, so high school English. And I would definitely say what I see most often is a haven for creativity. Every single time that I've been able to interact with the teacher and the students, I'm seeing students really feel comfortable about expressing themselves, taking risk, and being able to really be creative. And Mr. Cole invites them to be creative and invites them to step outside of that comfort. And that's exciting to see. And I think one of the things that really stands out for me is that I see that there is this comfort with intellectual freedom, and students are able to explore their creativity and to become creators of content. And that's what Mr. Cole seems to really portray in his classes, and the students step up.
Mr. Cole, tell me, what do you think may be one of the most the greatest challenges that's facing education and educators today? One of the greatest challenges.
I am intimidated by that question. It's pretty big.
Just think about what you may think, some of the things that we're facing today.
I think students need to be comfortable exploring the wide frontier of new available paths that they can pursue in education. For example, in my English classroom, Principal Zimba mentioned that they're invited to demonstrate their skills or their learning in a variety of ways. I love it when a student thinks outside the box and decides to use their talents. Perhaps they have a passion for music, and they can accompany it, they can include that in their reflections or their demonstrations of understanding of a particular reading that we have by choosing a musical accompaniment that would go with that and explain why. Or we have many students who are talented visual artists who have digital literacy skills that they're enabled to really work on in our school platform. So they're able to show off their animation skills, their illustrative skills. We have students who are excellent communicators and listeners and speakers and singers and dancers. And I am always asking my students to push the envelope for how they are able to come up with a meaningful response to the questions that we encounter in my English class.
Now, you know you're speaking my language when you say kids can use music, art, dance, or drama to respond. That's right up my alley, okay? So tell me this. When you think about that out-of-the-box kind of instruction and responses that could be elicited from students when they respond that way, what inspires you to be that creative and to allow that kind of work to happen?
My students inspire me. In the virtual classroom setting, so many self-defense mechanisms vanish. I am able to listen to a student on a personal level that I had before being a teacher at Mosaic. I had not really had the opportunity to invest the time or the attention. And the students that I work with learn that they're able to be honest with me and comfortable with me, and I listen to them, and I find what inspires them. And simply mirroring their creative capacities, I'm inspired by what inspires them. And I ask them to explore their creative potential in the ways that we find possible with our studies.
Great individualized instruction and opportunities for students to respond. That's awesome. What advice, as the Teacher of the Year, what advice would you give to a new teacher starting to work at Mosaic?
Show up and try, and don't be afraid to fail, because failure is just an opportunity to learn a new lesson. And being present every day and accepting the challenge of being a teacher and the unforeseeable difficulties and opportunities that this career offers, it can be quite intimidating. But have the courage to show up and to try and to think outside the box and to be creative, because at Mosaic Digital Academy, the creativity that the teachers are able to facilitate and foster within our students, I've never seen before.
Could be intimidating, but have many great rewards. Yes.
Yes,
So, Ms. Zimba, we're back to you. What makes Mr. Cole the perfect nominee for this honor?
So one of the things that Mr. Cole mentions a great deal is the ability to see that creativity in the students. And we really do need to foster more of that. We have so many opportunities for our young people to emulate others in their social media, and there's lots of social media, right? But what Mr. Cole is challenging his students to do is to create their own, to show their own voice. And that's so much more important than copying others. We could do that, of course, we can learn from others, but creating content on their own and daring to do that is super important. So that's what makes him the Teacher of the Year for us.
So, Mr. Cole, I ask you to bring along with you a prop today and to share with us how and why it's meaningful to you as a teacher. Would you share with us now?
Sure. My prop is pretty standard. It is a reset button.
Okay.
This is one that was created by the most amazing human being I've ever been blessed to meet, my daughter.
Okay.
However, the idea came from my early years in the classroom at Treasure Coast High School. I wanted something that the students could bring with them anywhere. I wanted them to have something that they could do to stop a bad day, to put a pause on a hard conversation, something that transcended the classroom boundaries. So I came up with this simple activity of let's make a reset button. It could be a post-it note that you draw a circle and write the word reset on. I keep one in my car in the glove box as a break in case of emergency, reset button. If you can use them at home, I can ask students to, again, be creative. When students suggested the third button down from the top is my reset button. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I can just push my reset button. So this is something that I can easily share with my students in the virtual setting. I have all sorts of knickknacks and toys and gizmos on my desk, but the reset button is something that everybody needs. Everybody needs to stop a bad conversation or a bad feeling or a bad vibe at some point in time in their life, and the reset button is just a way to put a pause on a train of thought that's not leading anywhere productive, and lets them start fresh, start new, and accept where they are and move on with a new perspective of optimism and hope.
I needed your reset button this morning when I got all the way to the office and I didn't have my badge and my key to get in the building.
Third button from the top.
Gotcha. Third button from the top. Ms. Zimba, let's wrap it up. Is there anything that you have not shared with us about the wonderful Mr. Andrew Cole that you want our viewers and us to know about your Teacher of the Year?
Mr. Cole, like many of our teachers, are virtually everywhere, and it's kind of a funny little phrase. But what that really means is he is available for his students, and they know it. They know he's available. They can meet him in the Teams classroom. They can meet him, in a Zoom session. They know that he's going to be there when they reach out. Maybe it's that conversation that they need to have that's a hard conversation. Maybe it's just having that refresh, that opportunity. Maybe it's just a question about the assignment, but they know he's there. He is really, truly there to be supportive of their needs.
Well, Mr. Cole, Ms. Zimba, thank you for joining us on this show and giving us this opportunity to introduce you to some of our viewers. Congratulations on your success and your being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Mosaic. It's been a pleasure hearing all of your music come out of the Teacher of English. I really enjoyed that, and again, congratulations for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are St. Lucie Public Schools. We are accoladed, recognized, accredited, merited. We are innovators, builders, career-driven, future-forward leaders. We are community-focused, partners, mentors, contributors. We are historic, unique, extraordinary, admired. We are champions, energetic, competitive, game changers. We are artists, dancers, designers, musicians. We are diverse, inclusive, collaborative, empowering. We are caregivers, protectors, supportive, attentive. Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello again, and welcome to our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show. Again, we are so excited to have with us the awesome Teacher of the Year from White City Elementary School, Miss Alicia Miller. Welcome, Miss Miller.
Thank you for having me.
Joining us today with her is the wonderful principal there, Miss Alexandra Louders. Welcome.
Hello, welcome.
We are excited to have this opportunity to speak with the nominees from each school. It gives us an opportunity to show off the fabulous teaching staff that we have here in St. Lucie Public Schools to all of our viewers, but also to give them a peek into what we do every day and to let us brag and let them know that we have some of the brightest and the best near and far right here with us. With that being said, would you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. My name is Alicia Miller. I have been teaching for 16 years. This is actually my second career. Graduated from the University of South Florida as a business major, and I was a securities principal. So I was a principal, but of securities. And I oversaw stocks, bonds, investments. And then one day I just said, this is not fulfilling. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I went back to school and wanted to be an educator. I always loved children. And from there, I've been teaching for 16 years now in the St. Lucie Public Schools district.
Awesome, awesome. We're glad you came home.
Thanks.
Ms. Loudis, same thing, please.
I'm Alexandra Loudis. I am the proud principal of White City Elementary for the last 6 years, and I've been in St. Lucie County for the last 17 years.
So, Ms. Miller, what do you make of this honor of being selected by your colleagues as their representative, their Teacher of the Year?
I will say I was definitely surprised. I was very happy. It's nice to be acknowledged by your peers and by administration. I feel like there's so many wonderful teachers, so it was nice that they chose me, but I know we have so many wonderful teachers at our school at White City.
So I know this is a second career, as you stated, for us, but as you reflect over the past 16 years, is there someone that may have been influential in how you go about your craft each day?
That's a hard question because within each stage there's been so many people. I would say Miss Foreman, Valerie Foreman, who's now the principal at Morningside Elementary, she was very influential in my life. She pushed me, not just to do the everyday lessons, but how can we make them greater? How can we include the framework? What else can we do beyond the classroom? She got me involved in student council, and then from there, parent and family involvement. So I would definitely say she's one of the many influential people in my life.
So over the past 16 years, since, as I said, you've come home, what have you found most enjoyable?
Most enjoyable has been watching a student who is like me. I grew up from a very, very financially disabled background, and to see a student grow and learn regardless of who they are, where they're from, how much money they have, to see that they can succeed, it's just a wonderful thing to see. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, you can go anywhere you want.
So, Ms. Loudis, give us a sneak peek, because you get to enjoy her work every day. Give us a bird's eye view into her classroom.
Well, she's got many classrooms because she's the math coach on campus. So her role, she's often in the classroom working with students in crunch groups, in collaborative planning with teachers. So her classroom with teachers and with students is both an inviting environment that has high expectations and is an environment where students and teachers can feel that they can ask questions and that she can help develop them and move them to the next stage.
At this point in your career, Ms. Miller, what inspires you to do the work that you're doing?
Oh, well, every day the children, of course, inspire me. When I do CLP, number one thing is think about the children first. No matter what we're doing, let's think about where we want them to be, and then come to what we're planning. It's always the children, but also how can we make this lesson engaging? What else can we do? Let's not just look at what can we teach off the paper. Can we bring it outside the classroom? Can we involve food? Can we involve kinesthetic learning? Let's think about how our kids learn. So inspires me is all the different types of learners that we have.
What do you consider to be the greatest challenge facing educators today?
It's going to come down to funds, I think. I wish that every school had obviously the highest technology. I wish we all had smart boards in our rooms. Every child had a laptop, not just in school but at home. So I think definitely the funds, but in our county we have kind of seen, okay, how can we help them? Like, for instance, we have so many math manipulatives. It's wonderful. It is so wonderful to see, okay, what can we do to learn this? And here, we have it. It's available. So we've been doing a great job at that.
So what advice would you give to a new teacher?
I would say for a new teacher and an old teacher, we're always learning every day. And we are not just raising students, we're raising future citizens.
So, Ms. Loudis, 3 adjectives, please. Oh, everybody's laughing already. This is going to be good. That describe the wonderful Alicia Miller.
First of all, dedicated. You will find her at the school at all hours of the day and night. On the weekends, I have to often tell her to close her computer. So that's number one, is her dedication. Her flexibility. She is willing to step up and go wherever is needed in a heartbeat. It could be that morning I could say, can you help out? We don't have a teacher right now. And can you teach this math lesson? And she's in the classroom with the kids. And just her kindness, her willingness to help everybody. So I would say those are the three adjectives to describe her.
Dedicated, flexible, and kindness. Kindness really resonates with me. So, what makes Ms. Miller the perfect candidate for this honor?
Her, like I said, dedication to student achievement. Last year, she helped us raise our school. We moved from a C to a B in a school grade, and math learning gains were the highest that White City's seen. The class that she helped support had 90% learning gains in a classroom with ELL, second language learners, because of her dedication and willingness to push in and be flexible and help the students. So she makes the perfect candidate because she's not only there for the students, but the teachers. Whatever manipulatives, whatever they need, they have a formal observation. She's there after school, on the weekend, always willing to help out in all areas. In addition, she's out in the community. She's helping make home visits if we need to make home visits, part of the MLK committee, every committee available. If I tell her, she doesn't even, I had to tell her not to be on so many committees because she will be everywhere and anywhere. But she is just really an all-around great person to help with that climate and culture on campus. That's so important in addition to the student achievement.
So, Ms. Miller, going back to your statement about second career and being in year 17, but tell me, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I would say the first time I had a student say, "Oh, I get it." And the first time a parent called me and said, "Thank you for working with my child." Gosh, there's so many times. I fall in love with the students, I would say. The teaching, yes, and everything that comes with it, but the kids. Just how can I help them? What can I do for this student versus that student? They're so different. Their minds are, all of our minds are different. So coming to this student and saying, okay, this student I see, you're going to learn by movement. This student's going to come to learn by just by paper and pencil, analog. So just trying to figure out what can I do that's better for this student. I'm never happy with just the average, okay.
So let us get a peek at the core of who Lucie Miller is.
Okay.
We're going to play a speed round.
Okay.
I'm going to throw out some favorites, and you respond quickly, okay? With the first thing. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite restaurant?
Taco dive.
Favorite movie?
Greatest Showman.
Oh, great show.
It is, and I have the soundtrack.
Okay. Favorite sports team?
The University of Southern Indiana baseball team, because my son's on it.
Okay. Go University of Indiana baseball team, yes. Favorite song?
Anything by Journey.
Favorite quote or inspirational, motivational saying?
I thought about this, and I have it hanging up at my house. A smooth sea never made a good sailor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So we ask you to bring along with you a prop. Share with us your prop and how and why it's meaningful to you as an educator.
Okay, so this was hard to pick just one thing. So if I had to put one thing, I tried to show a visual of some pictures of students and things.
Would you hold it up for our cameras,
absolutely.
please? Great, that's great.
And they are pictures of ways that I've gotten them to learn that's just outside of the box. Learning isn't just in the classroom, but it's, I love science experiments, so any type of science experiment we could have. I had, when it came to measurements, we made banana bread and actually had the cafeteria bake it, and so that was kind of neat. This is teaching students how to learn multiplication with food. In this particular school, we did not have very many math manipulatives, so food always works.
Still works today.
So we're learning about multiplication here. Just anything where they can come in the classroom and get engaged and inspired.
Awesome, awesome. As the Teacher of the Year, you are automatically the ambassador for education at White City. Have an opportunity to speak to many community members. What's your message?
My message is involve yourself in the lives of students. It takes a village, and they say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to teach a child as well. And whatever path they choose, involve yourself however you can, whether it just be reading, working on math facts, spending some time asking them about their day, what they learned. It's so important, I think, just to work on education with them, but also I think our number one thing that we're working on this year is attendance, so come to school. We're happy to have you.
So, Ms. Loudis, I'll let you kind of lead us to our wrap-up. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about the wonderful Ms. Alicia Miller?
Well, you know, in addition to all the ways she supports, she is our technology guru.
Oh, yeah.
So if you ever need help with technology,
I do.
She is the go-to. She is our resident IT on campus and can help in anything related to technology.
Well, I know who to call with this OneDrive and all those other
Yes,
things.
I actually talked to a teacher about OneDrive today. I'm a Microsoft educator trainer.
See, let me make a note. Ladies, thank you both for joining us and giving us an opportunity to share with our viewers some of the best and brightest educators in the nation. And congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year at White City.
Thank you. I
Looking
appreciate
forward to more dedication, flexibility, and kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello again and welcome to our celebration of teachers here in St. Lucie Public Schools. We brought along with us right now the awesome Mr. Dana Hochberg, who is the Teacher of the Year at Southport Middle School. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
He's brought along with him our wonderful friend, the dynamic principal there, Bree Lamb.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It is great to have this opportunity to speak with you. Mr. Hochberg, I'd like to tell our viewers that this is our chance to give them a peek into our world and for them to meet some of the brightest and the best that represent some of the brightest and the best educators in the nation. With that being said, would you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, my name is Dana Hochberg. I've been teaching, this will be going into my 30th year next year at the same middle school, Southport Middle School. I first cut my teeth in education by moving abroad to Santiago, Chile, where I had an opportunity to directly develop the middle years program of the International Baccalaureate. That curriculum really set the tone for my future in St. Lucie County. I came up here in 1995. Got hired at Southport Middle School and have been teaching ELA for ESOL students, English for Speakers of Other Languages, for now 29 years, going on 30 next year. And it's a passion that I've grown accustomed to, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else in the world.
Cool, cool. Mr. Lamb, would you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hi, yes. My name is Bree Lamb, and I'm the proud principal at Southport Middle School. Go Hurricanes! This is my first year being there at Southport. Prior to this, I was at Windmill Point Elementary. I've been in the district as an administrator and or teacher for the last 19 years. I actually was raised in St. Lucie County and had the privilege of attending St. Lucie Public Schools. I started elementary at Lawnwood and White City Elementary and moved on to Northport Middle School and graduated from John Carroll High School. So loved my experiences here in St. Lucie County as a hometown girl.
Yes, yes. Mr. Hochberg, let's start it. What do you make of being chosen as Southport's representative for Teacher of the Year?
Well, sir, I'm very humbled and honored to be nominated as Teacher of the Year. I don't represent myself in this capacity. I represent all the colleagues that I've worked with over the 29 years at Southport. And I represent the students that I have taught and are now amazing individuals who are contributing to our society as productive citizens. I am extraordinarily honored to be Teacher of the Year for the second time in my career. And I owe it to my colleagues who nominated me and voted me in. So I'm very, very humbled by that, and I hope to represent them very well today.
So tell us, is there an influential person in your life that may influence the way you go about your instruction every day with your students at Southport?
I can't say it's one particular person. I've had so many interactions with so many amazing educators over my career, but one does stand out. Well, two actually. One was my first mentor and assistant principal, Miss Penny Roberts. Amazing human being, helped me cull through my master's thesis. I got a master's in science teaching English as a second language from Nova Southeastern, and she basically helped me take a doctoral thesis and cut it down to a master's thesis. And she really supported me in what I was doing for the students. Secondly, my other main influence was a woman who was an amazing teacher. Her name was Miss Wanda Gailey. She was an ELA teacher at Southport, having moved down from Ohio. And she loved stories. And she's the one that, when things got a little dark for me and a little tough, she's the one that picked me up and said, hey, listen, Dana, you have a gift of storytelling. Tell stories to the students and hook them on exciting stories, and they will fall in love with reading just as I have and you are.
So what do you find most enjoyable about teaching?
Seeing my students go from struggling, non-English speaking, to proficiency in a very rapid amount of time, and then keeping in touch with them for a lifetime right now. I've had the honor of having two of my Haitian students who became family members attend my wedding. So my main emphasis is building relationships with these young people in middle school, and they continue to stay in touch with me in high school and thereafter. And so I build a familial kind of environment which really enriches them. Secondly, I also like to challenge them intellectually. I want to train them to think, not to memorize.
So, Ms. Lamb, give us a sneak peek into the room of Mr. Hochberg, since you get to experience it on a daily basis.
So in Mr. Hochberg's room, it's really a unique and interesting environment. And I will tell you, one of the things that stands out, well, there are two things that really stand out to me, Dr. Perry. The first are, he absolutely nailed it when he said the relationships that he builds with students and families. When he said he builds families, he really does. He often has relationships with the moms, dads, but then he'll have one of their children, and then often they'll request him for a second child, or they'll have a cousin, or an aunt and uncle, a brother or sister in his class, and they all request him because he builds those relationships. The other things that you see when you enter his classroom is the conversations. I will tell you, Mr. Hochberg, you know, being an ELA teacher for ELL students, our English language learners, he really does foster and encourage our students to have conversations that lead to better understanding of what he's teaching that day or the coursework that he's providing. So I would say his engaging conversations that you'll hear within his class and his relationships are definitely his superpowers.
Describe him for us using 3 adjectives and tell us why you've chosen those 3.
Whew, if I had to say 3 adjectives, I would say passionate. I would say, I don't know if relationships is an adjective, but building those relationships. I would also say he's creative and he's collaborative. Collaborative stands out the most to me because I believe currently Mr. Hochberg is partnered with our social studies teachers and working on a project from social studies to ELA and how the two can work together to help our ELL students to better perform in their social studies class. He also often collaborates with our science teachers and our math teachers to ensure that students can wrap their arms around what the content is.
So, Mr. Hochberg, gotten 3 adjectives from her. What makes you a good teacher?
My students who constantly challenge me to push them beyond what they think they can achieve. Audacious, I would say. 2, confidence, building the confidence, because a lot of times in order for these young people to be successful in high school, I need to build their tool chest, more or less, with exciting methods for achieving success, not only on academic tasks, but also on the state tests and on college applications. And 3, it is inspirational, because we have to feed off of each other to inspire each other to do more, be more, and become more.
When do you think you first fell in love with teaching?
I went overseas in my initial indoctrination into teaching, and that was a different experience than coming to a public school setting. However, when I came to the public school setting and set up a challenging curriculum for them, I found that they were no different than the students in Santiago, Chile. They just weren't pushed as hard as the students overseas. The school I attended was a private institution, and transitioning to public, they needed a role model and somebody to be more or less a hero for them, to advocate for them, because oftentimes they came from situations where they were voiceless and powerless. So my job was to empower them with a voice and empower them with the strength to stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves.
We ask you to bring along with you a prop today and then tell us how and why it's meaningful to you as an educator. Share with us at this time.
Okay, well, I brought along I guess you'd call it not a brochure, but
the program?
Program. Yes, thank you. From 2018, and I consider myself a transformational leader. I inspire others to achieve more and do more and become more. And in this, I have here a picture which is hard to see, but this is my daughter, who is Teacher of the Year for Fort Pierce Westwood.
Okay.
She followed my footsteps. Currently, she's in Campinas, Brazil, teaching IB at an international school. But she decided to become a teacher and follow my footsteps, as many of my students have. So I brought this along to show that transformational leaders inspire people to do something with their lives. And as far as I'm concerned, this is, as a Jewish person, this is what I call a mitzvah, which means a good deed. And I consider being an educator, serving others, as a good deed. And also in the Jewish religion, we have something called a tikkun olam, which is serving others and giving back to others in the community. So when my daughter became a teacher, my wife's a teacher, and so many of my former students have gone into education, it makes me proud that my small time with them has affected them in a lifetime. And so that's why I'm very proud to be an educator, and I don't think I want to retire at all until I'm told you're too old, get out of the classroom.
You're never too old.
Yes.
You're never too old.
Never too old.
So, Ms. Lamb, share with us what makes Mr. Hochberg the perfect candidate for this honor.
I think what makes Mr. Hochberg the perfect example or teacher, master teacher of the year candidate for this honor is that relationship piece and the service that he gives to our students, our families, and our community. You know, every time I speak with Mr. Hochberg, I learn something new. It's almost like a layered cake. A new layer is exposed, if you will. And so what I will say is his leadership is seen in all that he does in campus, from being on faculty council to the leadership that he provides in his classroom with his students, to his families and his parents and his community. And that's what makes him the best candidate for this position or for this honor.
So, Mr. Hochberg, let's wrap it up. Your selection as the Teacher of the Year for Southport automatically qualifies you to be the ambassador for education there. You'll have an opportunity to speak to PTA parents, to people in the community. What's your message?
My message is a public education is something that we should never take for granted. And when you have passionate educators like the ones we have at Southport that enabled me to be here today to represent them and myself, I want everyone to know that most people in our community have gone to a public school, and that it is an honor to serve others and make sure that our citizenry in the future is well educated and have the skills to obtain the jobs necessary to live that American dream, no matter where you come from. I'm a fourth generation descendant of immigrants who came over in Ellis Island. I teach kids who come over in a different way, and I want them to know we may not have been in the same situation and country and our circumstances, but as Americans, we need to cherish the opportunity we're given for equal and fair education so that we can produce a citizenry that is well educated and has the skills in the 21st century and beyond.
Mr. Hochberg, Ms. Lamb, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Pleasure speaking with you, too.
Thank you.
All right.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello to all of our wonderful viewers. Thank you for tuning in. We have with us at this time the wonderful Miss Alicia Vassals, who's the Teacher of the Year over at Parkway Elementary School. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Welcome.
She's brought along with her my dear friend and sister, LaTanya Green, the dynamic, proud principal there. Miss Green, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Now, I know we're supposed to talk to about Miss Vassals, but I've got to tell our viewers, Ms. Green is also the Principal of the Year for our school district as well. But we're going to focus right now with Ms. Vassals, okay? Hey, welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you. This gives us an opportunity to introduce some of the dynamic teachers here in St. Lucie County to our viewers. With that said, briefly introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Vassal. I was born in St. James, Jamaica. I went to school there for most of my elementary, high school, and teachers college, which we have back home. And then I migrated in 2008, went to Polk State College, and then after that went to FAU, completed my bachelor's. And then I am now in my 5th year of teaching here in St. Lucie County.
Welcome. Ms. Green, same thing, please.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. As Dr. Perry said, I am LaTanya Green. I am the very proud principal of Parkway Elementary School, home of the Pirates. This is my 28th year in education. I am also a graduate of St. Lucie County. I graduated from Lincoln Park Academy, go Greyhounds. After receiving my high school diploma and leaving home, I headed over to Tallahassee, where I went to Florida State University, earning my bachelor's degree, and then I received my master's of education in educational leadership from Nova Southeastern University. And as you said earlier, I am the proud recipient of being the Principal of the Year for Parkway Elementary for St. Lucie County this year.
Yeah. Ladies, again, welcome. So, Ms. Vassal, tell me, what do you make of being chosen as the Teacher of the Year for Parkway?
At first I was shocked. At Parkway we have amazing teachers and staff, and I was so excited for them to have voted for me to be the Teacher of the Year, a representation of the wonderful staff that we have at Parkway. So I was so excited about being chosen to represent Parkway Elementary this year.
Awesome, awesome. We know there are great things happening over at Parkway.
Yes.
When you think about your journey into education, do you think that there might have been someone that influenced you to make that move, or influences how you go about your craft each day?
For sure. There are many, but I know I have to number it to a few. But the biggest one for me was my elementary teacher. In the Caribbean, we call it the primary. And I had this teacher for 3 years, so she kind of looped from second, third, all the way up to fourth. And she was like a mom to us, and she just had that spirit of caring. And she cared, and then she also made it engaging, right? The reason for us to be at school. And she was just that mother figure that we all looked up to. And then moving on to high school, I had a wonderful geography teacher. She was also amazing, the engagement piece that made us want to learn, and always encouraging us to do our best at whatever we're doing. So those were the two teachers that really motivated me, inspired me into teaching or next step.
So when you think about both of those inspiring, motivational, out-of-the-box kind of teachers, what makes you a great teacher?
For me, it's the care. It's the love that you have for the students. I think of them as my babies. Even though I have 2 boys of my own, they're like my babies. I see them for 7 hours of the day, then I go home to my boys, but they're like babies. They need that nourishment, that care, that engagement, because once you start teaching, it's like a show. You have to start, you have to bring, how am I going to have them engaged so they stick to, and I teach reading, so I have to get them motivated to love the subject. Beginning of the year, they'll tell me, I don't think I like reading. At the end, they're changing, it's a different tune, they're singing. I'm like, it's just that engagement piece, and know that we can have fun in reading. And based on that, that's my motivation, just the engagement piece, getting them to learn.
So, Ms. Green, you have an opportunity to watch that magic happen every day. Give us a sneak peek into Ms. Vassal's class.
Wow, it's an amazing experience. And if you reflect back to the beginning of the year, Dr. Perry, Ms. Vassal actually was one of the teachers that were honored, and one of our students had an opportunity to speak about at the Back to School program. And everything that our student Makai shared about Mrs. Vassal was absolutely correct. But one of the most profound things that he shared with the group and the entire district that was listening was that she taught him to read, and that she cared for him, and that she loved him. And that is what we get to see. I get to witness every single day that Ms. Vassal is in the classroom. When you walk into her classroom, the first thing you experience is this sense of calmness that has set a tone for learning to take place. Kids are very independent in their learning because she has given them those tools that they need. And when you see her engage with students, you can just see kids hanging on every word that she is saying as she's challenging them, as she's pushing them to work harder and go forth. But it is the presence in her in that classroom and the tone that she has set that allows learning to happen, and you even get involved in it when you walk into it. It's that place that you really walk into, whether it's for a formal observation, an informal observation, or you just going by, that you can walk into class and go, And this is what is supposed to be happening when you talk about teacher and student relationships and the dynamics of learning and when learning is taking place in a classroom.
Describe her for us with 3 adjectives and tell us why you've chosen those.
Wow, only 3, only 3. So the first one, I would really say committed. She is committed to educating children. She is committed to ensuring that kids are provided that safe, nurturing environment, as she shared, and she is really just committed to the mission and vision of Parkway and what it means for kids to learn and what that should look like for children. I would also use innovative as well, because as you know, at Parkway we have a very diverse needs of our students and what it entails to teach them, and the dynamics that we deal with kids every day. And so the innovative ideas that she brings to the table, and as a team leader leads her team and pushes them further to think outside of the box, to create engaging lessons and ensuring that their learning is substantial and that it's fulfilling, for not just for her as a teacher but for the students as well. And the last adjective that I would think of is that, as so many kind of like bounce around in my head, but I would go with empowering. When you walk into a classroom, even just seeing her down the hall, whether you're talking to 4th or 5th graders, because she's a 3rd-grade teacher that has had her in the past, we have a lot of teachers in that top number of kids that remember and that they often talk about. Ms. Vassell is probably in our top 3 of teachers that you will hear many of our kids that have had her in the past, because she has taught them how to own their learning. She has taught them how to advocate for themselves. She has taught them how to, you know what, whatever classroom you're in, whether you're in front of me or any other teacher, here's what is important about your learning and what you bring to the table as a student.
So, Ms. Vassell, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I would say very young. I always joke around, even my cousins, they can tell you, play for me was teaching. Everyone else would be a doctor, police. I was always teaching, whether it's the tree. I know my cousin like 2 weeks ago, she told me, oh, remember when we used to do this every summer where they would visit and listen, we're doing teaching, okay? We're having a whole school, the whole books, my whole old books, we're teaching. So it started there, and then that's when I first fell in love with teaching. I didn't really see myself doing any other thing. Maybe nursing I tried, but I was like, no, blood, no. So teaching for me was always there. Even though I grew up with a lot of nurses around police officers, teaching was just my my first love as a career, because even after high school back home in Jamaica, you have different colleges for different careers. I went straight into teachers college and completed 3 years there, and then I moved here still wanting teaching. I was like throughout the district. 2011 I was in Broward district for almost 11 years. I was doing many things within the school district, and then finally I got the opportunity to shine in 2019. My first year I entered the classroom and just started doing my first love.
So what do you, if you could change one thing in education that would make an impactful difference, what would it be and why?
For me, I think it's I want to say it's the love, not to really change it, but to improve it. It's just to get back the love that we might have lost because of what happened with COVID and all of what's going on. But the love of just remember, bring back the patience of the teachers, like just patience. I know it's a lot based on whether it's behavior, academics, but we need to bring back that spark. Just bring back that spark of the love for teaching.
We ask you to bring along with you a prop and share with us the prop and why it's meaningful, why and how it's meaningful. Do that now, please.
Yes, I will. So this is a photo of my first babies. It was the year 2019, 2020, we all know that year. But these were my first babies, and they were like my trial and error stage, going into teaching, finishing my bachelor's, and they were my test babies, even though we didn't get a chance to complete the whole year, but they were like the love I poured into them. I'm getting feedback. Some of them are doing wonderful in middle school. It was a lot that year, but I know these babies were my first. We never forget our first. Yeah, they were my first, which I'll never forget. And they were really good students. They have taught me the different learning styles, how I have to differentiate based on their learning styles and all of that. We did a lot within, even though it was a short time, we did a lot during that year.
Okay. Ms. Green, what makes Ms. Vassell the perfect candidate for this honor?
Wow, Ms. Vassell is the epitome of what you expect to have in a teacher. She has definitely elevated the game of teaching, especially when we come to 3rd grade. We do know that's already a difficult year. A lot rides on third grade, but one thing that, again, with Ms. Vassal's commitment and the things that she does to empower kids, not just the children, but her grade group as well, and teachers around the school. Clearly, she's sitting here as a Teacher of the Year, so she has had an impact and she's an influence on so many of the teachers, especially for our beginning teachers. And she is also has earned a level of respect from her colleagues, from her students, and from our parents as well. So many teachers across grade levels go to Ms. Vassal for advice, for support, to watch her in action in the classroom. How does she bring all of these things that she does in the classroom together? And lastly, I would say is that I remember when I interviewed Mrs. Vassal a couple of years ago, and we talk about this story quite often. I actually use it in a lot of my speeches and things that I share with the staff, is one of the things that she said, that she was looking for a school that was like a family and someone that she felt the energy of caring for children. And at the couple of talks and she gets hired and going in at the end of the year, and something she shared with me, she was like, "Ms. Green, I found my home." She was like, "This is where I'm supposed to be." And there is no turning back. And so I know I said lastly, but one other thing that stands out too when you talk about being a Teacher of the Year and to represent what it is across the board. I remember when we were getting ready to take our third grade test, and we know we were on this road to becoming an A, but most importantly, increasing our number of students that are proficient in third grade to be able to meet that mark. And I said to Ms. Vassal, as they were the last testing group, I said, "Ms. Vassal," I was like, "What do you think? Here's what we need." You know what? And she said, "Ms. Green, we got this." And she just walked away. And that is what you need, a teacher that can also exude a level of confidence and belief in her children, in their children, our children. And she made me calm. I was like, okay, Ms. Vassal said, we got it. We got it. You know, and I literally remember going back to my classroom, Dr. Perry, and I sit down and we just watched the scores come in. And it was because of her that shared with me as her principal, like, don't worry about it. We got it, Ms. Green. And that is, for me personally, why I believe that she is the epitome of what we want teaching to be and the person that we want to represent our district.
So, Ms. Vassal, let's wrap it up.
Yes.
When you became the Teacher of the Year at Parkway,
yes,
you became their ambassador for education.
Yes.
We want to hear what you think about education. So what's your message?
So my message to everyone is, remember your spark. We all came into this for a reason. There's a purpose behind it. Don't give up. And I know it's tested, we have tried, it's just like life. We have our ups and downs, but just hold on, because our students are watching us. They're looking at us. If we care, they know that everything is possible because you're caring. Patience, it will happen. It's like growing toddlers. I have 2 boys. Patience, you'll see fruit. It will grow fruit once you believe in the process. So I just want to say to all teachers, remember your spark. We got this. We can do it.
So, ladies, both of you, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing with us as well. Congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year. And to all of our teachers, just remember, we got this. Have a great day.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Hello again, and welcome to our Teacher of the Year celebration show. We have with us the wonderful Miss Julie Shope from Palm Point Research School, who is the Teacher of the Year there. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
She's brought along with her the assistant principal there, Dana Markowitz. Ms. Markowitz, welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
We are always excited to do this show because it gives us the prime opportunity to make sure that some of our community members that watch our show can get a sneak peek at some of the dynamic teachers in our system, because we know that you represent the brightest and the best near and far. With that said, would you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Of course. Well, my name is Julie Shope. I'm originally from the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania. During high school, my family moved to Ciudad Juarez in Mexico, where we worked at a children's home. And then after high school, I attended Palm Beach Atlantic University, and I earned my degree in elementary education, and I began my teaching career in 2005 in Palm Beach County. And then in 2018, I found my home at Palm Point up here in St. Lucie County Public Schools, and I've just enjoyed my time since.
Thank you. Welcome again. Ms. Markowitz, introduce yourself,
Sure.
please.
Okay, I'm Miss Markowitz. I'm one of the proud assistant principals at Palm Point. I've been there for 9 years, previously at Bayshore Elementary. I actually grew up in St. Lucie County and graduated from Centennial, so I'm a proud alumni. And then I went on to get my bachelor's and my master's from Florida Atlantic University.
So, Ms. Shope, tell me, what do you make of the honor of being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Palm Point?
Oh, wow. Well, I work in such a beautiful community with the most amazing teams, so I was truly humbled and just so flattered that I was selected, and it's an honor and a privilege to represent Palm Point.
Have you always known that you wanted to be an educator?
When I was little, I always played school. I would set up my dolls. They were my students. I had my desk, my library. My whole playroom was a classroom. I had my own chalkboard. I would sneak copies on my dad's Xerox machine. I mean, my brothers would say I was a teacher from early on because I was really bossy and I was super organized. So I really always wanted to be a teacher, and as I got older and my family did do work in a children's home, I just experienced how education can unlock so many opportunities, and it really solidified that this is what I wanted to do.
So do you think that someone influences the way you work each day? If so, share.
Yeah, there's been so many influential people in my life. My parents, my own teachers, my colleagues, my amazing administrators, and my students for sure. But if I had to choose just one, there's a teacher who was my dean and my mentor my first 5 years of teaching, and her name was Mrs. Weir. And she really taught me so much about building relationships with students and investing in them and knowing them inside the classroom and outside the classroom, and how we can have high expectations for all students and knowing that they all have potential to succeed. So she's really taught me so many life lessons to make me not just a better teacher, but also a better person.
What do you find most enjoyable about your work each day?
Oh my goodness. Well, I teach kindergarten. I've spent the past 14 years in kindergarten, and you just have to have a great day when you're in kindergarten. The students just are the most enjoyable part. Every day is magical. You can make anything exciting. There's so many moments that bring a smile to my face and just make me laugh. And making the memories in the school family with my students and building those strong relationships with them is really the most enjoyable part.
Ms. Markowitz, give us a bird's eye view, a peek, if you would, into Ms. Shope's class every day.
Sure. So every single day when you were to walk in at any time of the day, you would get an overwhelming sense of belonging in her classroom. And she said that she could make anything exciting in kindergarten, and honestly, that's exactly what you see there. Not only is she encouraging her students, but her students are encouraging one another. One of my favorite things is when a student maybe is struggling to answer a question, and then they finally can, they will say, "Great thinking," and it's unprompted, so it comes so natural. And it's just, you're in awe of what these kindergartners are able to do at that point of the year in her classroom. And it's all because of the relationship she builds with them and how she creates this enthusiasm and instills that growth mindset in her classroom. And I know she mentioned being magical. I always say it is a magical experience when you go in her room and you just want to stay and never leave and just take it all in.
Oh, I'm sure it's exciting when you get to see the magic
yes.
come alive. Choose 3 adjectives that describe her and share with us why you've chosen those 3.
Okay, so the first adjective I would use to describe her is passionate. I think passion for teaching and learning, it drives everything she does, and it's so incredibly evident in all that she does, not just in her classroom, but throughout our school community as well. The other would be humble. I know that she always takes feedback and she's seeking new opportunities to be innovative for her students and is never one to take credit, although the credit is most usually due. And then I think the best adjective to describe her as a teacher is awe-inspiring, because she really captures that sense of wonder within her students, and they are truly hanging on to the side of their seats waiting for the next exciting thing from Mrs. Shope, and I just think that makes them want to come back to kindergarten every single day.
So, Mrs. Shope, there's many different things going on in the profession of education, but what is your wish for education?
My greatest wish for education would be that we would have investment by all stakeholders, and not just financially, of course, that would be amazing, but also the time and the energy and making education a top priority, and just so that we could all be partners together and a real team improving education.
12 years from now, your students are going to graduate high school. 16, 17 years from now, they'll graduate college. When they look back over their educational career, what do you want them to say about kindergarten class with Ms. Shope?
Oh, well, I want them to say that was my best year of school. That was my most favorite teacher. That was the first time that I had a school family, and that was a magical place to learn.
So, Ms. Markowitz, what makes Ms. Shope the perfect candidate for this honor?
She truly is such a role model teacher. She goes above and beyond in all that she does. Like I said, she not only creates that excitement for her students, but for the families as well, especially because it's their first formal setting in school. And she just makes sure that she creates those meaningful experiences for her students. I think her impact is shown not only throughout the school year for her current students, but in years to come, that they will look back and say, wow, it was just such an amazing year, and she'll stay with them forever. I think that she sets up the trajectory for these students to be successful because she believes in them and she's their advocate. I just think that Ms. Shope's teaching and learning and her passion for doing so is just unparalleled, and she's the most deserving of this honor.
So, Ms. Shope, let's play a speed round. We've talked a lot about education, but we're going to get into some of the personal likes of Ms. Julie Shope. Favorite food?
Aki and saltfish.
Favorite restaurant?
Pueblo Viejo.
Favorite movie?
Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, that's different. Favorite sports team?
Miami Heat.
Favorite? That's a good team.
Okay.
I know we're going to do without JB, but you know.
I know.
Favorite song?
Oh, my favorite song, Amazing Grace.
Favorite quote, inspirational saying, motivational saying?
Do small things with great love.
So we've asked you to bring along a prop, giving us another look into who you are. That kind of reflects how and why teaching is important to you. Share with us this time.
So I brought lessons my students have taught me, and I use this every once in a while when I need to look back and remember why I'm doing this, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and why it's important for me. And it's actually pictures of all my classes that I've had over the years, and I can sit here and I could look at them and I could remember the lessons that my students have taught me. Because when I first started teaching, I thought I was going to be the one imparting all of the knowledge.
Oh, yes.
But little did I know that they would teach me more than I could ever guess.
Well, I get it. Yeah. Perfect. So, Ms. Markowitz, let's give you a final opportunity to share anything else that you may want us to know about your amazing Teacher of the Year.
Well, she is amazing, and I this interview doesn't even encapsulate or even scratch the surface of how amazing we think that she is at our school. She is inspiring, and I think that she is the type of teacher that we hope that every single child gets to experience.
So, at Palm Point, you have become their ambassador for education, and we want to know what is it that's important about education and the why. What's your message?
So I would want to say that education is the cornerstone to a thriving community, and I think that when we all work together and invest in our students and find their unique talents and skills, and we look at the whole child, not necessarily just their academics alone, but really invest into who they are, that we can create future leaders and role models, good citizens of our community for the future.
Ms. Markowitz, Ms. Shope, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sharing with our viewers. Congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
We are St. Lucie Public Schools. We are accoladed, recognized, accredited, merited. We are innovators, builders, career-driven, future-forward leaders. We are community-focused, partners, mentors, contributors. We are historic, unique, extraordinary, admired. We are champions, energetic, competitive, game changers. We are artists, dancers, designers, musicians. We are diverse, inclusive, collaborative, empowering. We are caregivers, protectors, supportive, attentive. Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Wow, what an amazing and inspiring group of educators. The Teacher of the Year Award is a call to service that comes with a responsibility and obligation to elevate students and the profession. This award isn't about being the best teacher, it's about being chosen to represent the best teachers and the honor of being called to represent such an incredible profession. We applaud these teachers who devote their personal lives to enriching the lives of St. Lucie Public Schools and our students. We thank them every day because they make a difference and do that special something that truly matters. Every day, they leave an undeniable mark on the future. Congratulations to all these teachers for their selection as the Teacher of the Year.